Imagine being a parent, sitting helplessly as your child is punished for something so small it shouldn't have even been a crime. That's exactly what happened inside this courtroom. A teenager's future was about to be stolen in plain sight until a shocking truth came to light. One that flipped the courtroom on its head. The gavel slammed down, echoing through the courtroom like a thunderclap. 17-year-old Marcus Walker flinched, his palms sweating as he stood before the bench. He wasn't a hardened criminal. He wasn't even a troublemaker. He was just a kid bright, respectful, a junior in high school who loved basketball and dreamed of earning a scholarship. But today, none of that mattered. Today, Marcus was being painted as a criminal. It had all started with one wrong turn. After basketball practice the week before, Marcus was exhausted. He decided to take a shortcut through a half-built construction site near his neighborhood. He had done it before. 10 fewer minutes on tired legs always felt like a blessing. But this time, a security guard spotted him. Within minutes, the police arrived. They claimed Marcus had been trespassing with intent to vandalize. Intent? That word alone would change everything. Marcus didn't argue. He didn't resist. He was too stunned as officers clicked handcuffs around his wrists and shoved him into the back of a squad car. His mother, Angela Walker, rushed to the scene. Her cries echoed in the night as she watched her son being taken away. Now, days later, Marcus stood in front of Judge Richard Holloway, a man infamous in town for his cold rulings and his reputation of teaching kids lessons the hard way. Angela sat in the back row, clutching her purse so tightly her knuckles turned white. The public defender stood at Marcus's side, voice steady but urgent. Your Honor, this was nothing more than a teenager cutting across private property. It's a first-time offense. No property was damaged, no harm done. At most, this warrants a warning or community service. But Judge Holloway wasn't listening. He leaned forward, his sharp eyes narrowing as if he saw not Marcus, but every stereotype he despised. I've heard enough excuses, the judge barked. Young man, it's time you learn there are consequences for breaking the law. I hereby sentence you to 6 months in juvenile detention. The room gasped. 6 months for walking through a construction site? Angela's hand flew to her mouth. Tears streamed down her face. Even the prosecutor looked caught off guard. Marcus lowered his head. His lips trembled, but he whispered softly, Yes, Your Honor. The bailiff moved to cuff him again. The case, it seemed, was closed. But the judge had just made a mistake. A big one. Because Marcus wasn't just any teenager. He was the son of the most powerful man in the state. And Judge Holloway was about to find out the hard way. As the bailiff reached for Marcus, the heavy wooden doors at the back of the courtroom creaked open. Heads turned. A tall man in a dark suit walked in, his presence commanding immediate attention. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Reporters shifted in their seats, sensing a story. Angela's eyes widened. Relief and fury mixed on her face. It was Governor Daniel Walker. The governor's polished shoes clicked against the floor as he walked toward the bench, his expression unreadable but his posture radiating authority. Judge Holloway blinked in confusion. Governor Walker, what brings you here? The governor didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked straight to Marcus and placed a steady hand on his son's shoulder. His voice was calm but icy. This is my son. Gasps filled the room. The silence that followed was deafening. The same boy Judge Holloway had mocked, belittled, and sentenced harshly was the governor's child. Color drained from the judge's face. He stammered, I didn't realize. But Governor Walker cut him off, his voice sharp. That's the problem, Judge. You didn't care who he was. You saw a young black teenager and assumed the worst. You abused your power instead of upholding justice. Angela rose to her feet, anger shaking her voice. You tried to destroy my boy's life over nothing. For walking home. Do you know what 6 months in juvenile detention does to a kid? The courtroom erupted. People murmured, some nodding in agreement. Even the prosecutor looked ashamed. But the governor wasn't finished. He turned to the judge. You've made a career of hiding behind that bench, acting untouchable. But today, your arrogance caught up with you. Judge Holloway gripped the edge of his desk. His usual confidence was gone. For the first time, he looked small, Governor Walker demanded the sentence be overturned immediately. He cited Marcus's clean record, the absence of evidence for intent to vandalize, and the judge's biased language in courtroom. The courtroom buzzed as the governor's words echoed. The bailiff hesitated, then slowly removed his hand from Marcus's arm. Marcus, still trembling, glanced at his father. He wanted to speak, but his throat felt tight. The governor gave him a reassuring nod. "It's okay, son. You don't have to say anything." Judge Holloway stuttered, "Governor, please, let's not." But before he could finish, the governor pulled out a folder. Inside were documents, complaints filed against Judge Holloway over the years, allegations of bias, misconduct, and unusually harsh sentences for young defendants, especially minorities. The audience gasped again. Angela's voice broke through the silence. "You ruined lives, Judge. Kids who never got a second chance because of you. And now you try to ruin mine." Judge Holloway sank into his chair, speechless. Within weeks, news outlets across the state ran the story. Headlines screamed, "Governor's son targeted by biased judge," and asterisk, "Judge Holloway under investigation." Asterisk, the judge's career unraveled. Investigations revealed a long history of discriminatory rulings. Parents of past offenders came forward, their voices finally heard. Meanwhile, Marcus's record was cleared. He returned to school, but the experience had changed him. He spoke at assemblies about justice, about resilience, and about how easily the system could fail someone who didn't have a powerful parent to protect them. Governor Walker launched a new initiative to reform the juvenile justice system, pledging to ensure fairness for all children, not just his own. And Judge Holloway? He was removed from the bench, disgraced in the same courthouse where he once ruled without mercy. He learned the hard way that arrogance and prejudice have consequences, especially when justice is watching. The camera lingers on Marcus walking out of the courthouse beside his parents, free at last. A teenager's future almost ended before it even began. But one cruel sentence revealed a deeper truth about power, prejudice, and justice. Judge Holloway thought he was untouchable until one mistake cost him everything. And Marcus? He walked away stronger, a reminder that sometimes justice has a way of turning tables.